excuse me, I'm supposed to press the button. I keep forgetting that every 30 days. But welcome you to the September 11th, 2018 Board of Education meeting. I would ask that you silence your phones if you can, so we can have an efficient meeting here today. We have a quorum of 7 board members, and with Teresa Grant participating via telephone communication. And let's start the meeting off with an invocation by Dr. Peggy Smith and a pledge of allegiance by Mr. Ronald Johnston. If we'd all stand, please.
Let us pray. Lord God of heaven and earth, thank you for this day on this earth and the hope of heaven. We thank you for the blessings of this school system. Help us to be mindful of the day that we are commemorating, September 11th. We thank you for the joy of learning and the joy of serving those who learn. Thank you for every opportunity for all of us to grow. We praise you for keeping our students and staff safe and engaged. We know that you are mightier than any storm, and we pray your arms will hedge us about through the coming days. We pray for your hand of peace on the Renfro family in their time of loss. Lord, we beg your continued grace and mercy on each person in each place. Give us wisdom and discernment as we serve, and bless this system for yet another year. Forgive us when we fall short, and help us always to give you the glory and save us in heaven for your name's sake. Amen.
Amen.
You will turn and place flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. There's no public comments today. Next on the agenda will be approval of the August 14, 2018 regular session minutes. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ronald Johnston, second by Todd Sutton. Any question on those minutes? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Ms. Grant.
Sure.
Discussion to and adjustments to the agenda, starting with Mr. Sutton.
No, sir.
Ms. Grant?
None, sir.
Vice Chair Johnson? Butler Hall?
None, sir.
No adjustments to the agenda. I entertain a motion to approve the existing agenda. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we could remove exhibit number 6D1, Human Capital Update, just in an attempt to expedite the meeting today as we can. I would appreciate it if you would afford us that courtesy today.
Restate which one?
Exhibit number 6D1, Human Capital Update. We'll bring that back to you next month.
With that adjustment, I entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chair Johnson, second by Ronald Johnson. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Aye. Motion carries 7-0. Advisory appointments, starting with Butler Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Johnston, principal at Benson Elementary, requests the reappointment of members Gladys Padilla and Anita Johnson for 3-year terms each to end in June of 2021. Dr. Pierce at South Johnston High School requests the reappointment of member Macon Stafford for 3 years to end in June 2021. Mr. Avery at Four Oaks Middle requests the appointment of new member Shelley Johnson for 3 years, replacing a seat vacated by Stephen Prescott. This term will also end in June 2021. Ms. Jernigan at Benson Middle requests new member appointment of 3 years for Takesha Henry, that is filling a vacant seat, and her term would end in June 2021. Also, the reappointment of members Christy Carter, Christina Montano, and Kimberly Moore for 3 years each of these terms to end in 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. I will let that serve as our motion for the approval of our advisory board members. Ms. Grant.
Clayton Middle Principal Catherine Trudell recommends new member appointments of 3 years each for Shania Cradle, replacing a vacated seat by Helen Forbes, and Alyssa Hunt Lowry, replacing a vacated seat by Janice Owens, terms to end June 2021. Polenta Elementary Principal Christina Benson recommends new member appointment of 3 years for Jenny Sepik, filling a vacant seat, term to end in June 2021. Riverwood Middle Principal Jamie Stoke recommends new member appointment of 3 years each for Frank Daltrey and Victor Ferguson, filling vacant seats, terms also to end in June 2021.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. We'll let that serve as our second to the motion of the approval for advisory board members. And with that, I'll move on to Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Principal Kenneth Bennett requests the reappointment of member Bert Stoner for 3 additional years, term to end 2021. Principal Dorlissa Johnston at McGee's Crossroads Middle as a new member appointment for Stephanie Bagley, also to end June 2021. And Principal Shanitra Mangum at Westview Elementary has a new member appointment for Anthony Bird, filling a vacant seat to end June 2021.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Mr. Johnson.
I have one, Mr. Chairman. Selma Elementary Principal Rosado is requesting new member appointments of 3 years for Dickie Parrish, who is filling a vacant seat, and Laura Royals, who is replacing a vacant seat by Chris Adams. Those terms would end in June of 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Todd Sutton.
Principal Kenneth Sumler of North Johnston Middle School asked for the reappointment of Mr. Haywood Watson for a 3-year term to end in June 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. Vice Chair Johnson. Thanks, Vice Chair Johnson. We have a motion by Butler Hall and a second by Teresa Grant on the advisory board approvals. All those in favor? All those
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Renfro.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I would ask that the board approve consent items 6A1A through 6A1M.
Entertain a motion for consent items. Motion by Butler Hall, second by Dr. Smith. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Dr. Coates.
Dr. Coates.
Good afternoon, Mr. Board Chair, Madam Vice Chair, Board of Education members, and Dr. Renfro. Today I have 4 items for you, and I'd like to call Christy Stevenson up with me to assist with this discussion of the changes in ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act, and how our data is reviewed. So I will turn the mic over to Ms. Stevenson.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Christy. Glad to have you.
Glad to be here. In your packet, you've received an overview of our district summative data for the year. I would like to say, as Dr. Coates said, with the implementation of the new ESSA plan from the state in May of 2018, there are several reporting differences in our data. The proficiency data that you see presented there in the handout that you have is an apples to apples comparisons as you look at that. I will say there are two different proficiencies reported there. One is college and career readiness, which are our percent of students achieving a level 4 and 5. And then there's also a GLP proficiency, which stands for grade level proficiency, which are those students achieving an achievement level of 4 or higher. When we talk about school performance grades, the state model is still based off of an 80-20 model, 80% coming from achievement indicators and 20% coming from growth. However, there have been changes in this model. So the state still uses the 15-point grading scale as they've done the past several years, but this year, in order to be included in the model, students must have been enrolled in the school at least half the year or half the semester. In the past, it didn't matter how long the kids have been enrolled. So that is a change in how that proficiency is reported. The 80%, the achievement indicators, you can see here where that data comes from. You have math proficiency for grades 3 through 8, as well as reading. Also in the middle school, 8th grade, Math 1 is figured in the calculations. Science proficiency at grades 5 and 8. And then there is a new indicator, the English learner progress. That is a measure of the percent of students making progress towards exiting based off of their access score or their language acquisition test that they take annually. For high school, you can see there are several indicators that go into figuring that 80%. These include performance on Math 1, English 2, biology. The English learner progress has been added. ACT and work keys, there is a change there with that indicator. In the past, it was broken out as a separate ACT indicator and a separate work keys indicator. Now, with the new ESSA plan, it is combined into one indicator looking at all 12th graders. And did they get a 17 composite score on the ACT, or if they were concentrators, did they reach that silver level or better there? And this includes all students in 12th grade membership. Also, a change in reporting comes when we start talking about math course rigor. Math course rigor is measured by looking at the percent of 12th graders who have earned Math 3 credit. Again, this includes all 12th graders, including your OCS and life skills students who typically would not take, it's not a graduation requirement for these students to take, and they typically would not participate in this subject. So you may notice a dip in our math course rigor data, and that's largely because we're now adding those students into the denominator. Also, the graduation cohort rate is used in this in calculating your school performance grade. I would like to celebrate that Johnston County, when we look at state data, we were above the state in our English learner progress indicator. We were also above the state in our ACT work keys and ACT indicator, as well as math course rigor, and our graduation cohort rate continues to go up to 91.8, above the state's rate of 86.3. And as a side note, it's not reported in this, but our 5-year grad rate continues to be above the state as well. So when we talk about growth, the 20% piece, for the elementary and middle school, growth is still determined based off of your reading, your math, and your science. However, at the high school level, you'll notice that it's just English 2 and Math 1. Biology has been removed from that formula, and it's all because of how the ESSA plan was written and how they count science at the high school level. So that has also impacted our data there. So if you look on your data sheet, you can see the number of schools. This would be on page 2. You can see the number of schools that for growth met, exceeded, or did not meet growth. And likewise, you can see our number of schools receiving an A, B, C, D, or F. A second component to the ESSA plan is a measure of long-term goals. The state has established a 10-year goal. This goal was set for each school based off of their subgroup performance from 15-16. So each year, a school has an interim benchmark that they are expected to meet based off of their data from 15-16 in order for the state to meet their overall 10-year goal. The data that's included for long-term goals is reading, math, our graduation rate, and our EL progress. Like or unlike school performance grades, where partial enrollment comes into play, for long-term goals, it does not matter how long a student has been enrolled in our schools. They count in this model. And also for long-term goals, you know, I talked to you about we had grade level proficiency and we have college and career readiness proficiency. For long-term goals, they use the college and career readiness data. So that's our levels 4s and 5s, whereas for school performance, it's level 3, 4, and 5. And then finally, and you can see on your sheet what our percentage of making progress towards our ESSA goals are at the very bottom. And then finally, when we start thinking about continuous improvement, at last week's State Board of Education meeting, in addition to releasing this data, they also released the list of low-performing and continually low-performing schools. A low-performing school is a school that has a school performance grade of a D or a F and did not exceed growth. We have 16 of those schools in Johnston County. And continually low-performing means that the school has been low-performing for 2 out of the past 3 years. We have 9 of these schools. We will be presenting at the next board meeting our plan of action for supporting these schools. We actually have a session set up in October because these schools will have to use the state's platform IndoStar. We have someone from the state coming in to work with us on that, as well as Academic Innovation is outlining a strategic plan of support for all these schools so that we can help move them from low-performing status. The comprehensive support, targeted support, and additional targeted support, these are 3 distinctions that come out of federal reporting for ESSA. That information has not been released publicly yet. That will be released at the October 3rd State Board meeting, and it looks more closely at subgroups. This year, for the first time, subgroups, if a school has a population that has at least 30 students in it, they will receive a letter grade, and then based off of that data, they would be identified as a CSI or TSI school. And as I said, that data will be forthcoming, and we hope to have that for you at the October board meeting. Are there any questions?
You said the state will be coming in to introduce a platform or explain a platform to our lower performing schools?
Yes,
Can you give me kind of an understanding of what the platform is? What does it encompass?
it is called NC Star. It is a continuous platform for school improvement. Basically, they put their school improvement plans in there, and when school improvement teams meet, they enter their minutes in there, their action items. And we at the district level have access to that, and we view that, and we provide coaching comments through that, so we can offer support virtually as well. The state also, their school transformation department has access to that, and they too can provide coaching comments.
Does this anyway? Oh, I apologize.
I was just going to add, Mr. Johnston, a very pertinent question. We are very familiar with NC Star because it has been in the district at those schools that have been low performing previously. In fact, we've used many of the components in NC Star in other schools because it's been a pretty good model.
Okay, and there's just no way it interferes with the restart plan or anything like that.
No, of the 9 schools that are continually low performing, 6 of them are restart schools. So their plans will carry on.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Not hearing this from Johnston County Schools, but I have students who say that this is very cumbersome, that it is very tedious. There are 100 indicators, 100+ indicators. Am I getting incorrect information? Is that accurate?
In the STAR platform?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. There are several indicators, but we only have to assess 12 of them. There's 12 kind of priority ones that every school must address, but you can choose from the others if they align with your continuous improvement efforts.
So our district is not requiring the checklist of 100 indicators. I was going to say we need to hire some more people if that's the case. Thank
No,
you.
ma'am. Yes. Yes, and there's also a public link so the public can log on and see their school improvement plan. And
A couple of questions. You noted that 6 of the 9 are already in the restart program that are low performing. The other 3, is it safe to say that they may go in the restart next year? Or because I know the ISD school district, we had to make sure we didn't have one go into that. So are we preparing to make sure that we have everything in place to make sure that we don't have any fall into that category?
this is the first year that those 3 schools would qualify for one of there are 4 transformation models. So as far as what one
would be, and that's part of the data plan that we're working on that we will present to you in October, a part of the plan of action that we are working on. We're not quite ready to present it, but it's very targeted and very school specific. You're welcome.
One more general question. What were the scores like across the state this year? I have students in 4 different systems, and we are all seeing a drop in data. Is that across the board for the state this year?
The state data, as far as how we compare to the state, we are below the state further than we would like to be. But, again, this is another indication of why JOCO 2020 is so important. We have to have instructional change for our students. We have to personalize instruction in order to meet those needs.
And I compared our reading data to the state data, and we had the same type of dip. Like the amount of dip for the state was the same amount of dip for us.
In the press release by the state superintendent, he had indicated that scores were down across the state.
I just wanted to verify that we got that out to the.
It's not quite.
Thank you so much.
Briefly, is there anything that they're attributing to this decline?
At the state level, I have not heard of any rationale as to why.
No, sir, but the folks at DPI are working feverishly to figure it out. Seriously.
Thank you.
Well, the state superintendent had talked about how personalization and the things that we are doing with JOCO 2020 need to be replicated across the state. And even though we may have taken a step to the side, or some people may say even a step back, sometimes you have to do that before you move 10 steps forward. And I'm competitive. I want our scores to be the best. I want our students to be the best. And I promise you, next year at this time, after we've gone through phase 3 of JOCO 2020, you will see a rebound. Brandon Garland, Stephen Baker, Paula Coates, Christy, great people leading instruction each and every day. And I have the utmost confidence and faith in their abilities, as well as those folks in our classrooms. Instruction is as good as it's ever been in our public school system.
Any other questions? Thank y'all.
Okay,
Floor is still yours, Dr. Coates.
thank you. If you'll look at, please, at Board Exhibit 6B2, the RTI contract to support Benson Elementary, Benson Middle, Selma Middle, and Innovation Academy. And we have worked with RTI before, and that's nothing new to our district. We request for approval of that.
This is an action item, RTI school support contract. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ronald Johnson, second by Vice Chair Johnston. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Next item is Board Exhibit number 6B3, approval of the Memorandum of Understanding Articulation Agreement with Mount Olive College and South Johnston High School with the Ideal Academy.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ronald Johnson,
Second.
second by Todd Sutton. Any questions on the Memorandum of Understanding for Ideal Academy and Articulation Agreement? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. And the final item, Exhibit number 6B4, is sharing with you the video of JOCO 2020 Phase 3. And that is an information item, if you would be so kind as to, are they linking that in there for us?
Hey everybody, Ross Renfro here. The theme for the year is as we unveil Phase 3 of JOCO 2020, each student counts and every moment matters. There's a finite amount of time in every school year. There's a finite amount of time in each student's public school career. Why each student counts, every moment matters? It's Phase 3 of JOCO 2020. We assume that everybody's been here for the last 3 years, but for those new teammates, Phase 1 a couple of years ago, we talked about the importance of relationships, relevance, and innovation in the classroom. Last year, if you remember, we spent time with our teachers in Phase 2, and we talked about mindset. Folks who have a fixed or closed mindset, but in Johnston County Public Schools, we like folks to have a growth mindset and even an innovative mindset. And so this year it's Phase 3, and it focuses on the student. Each student counts, every moment matters. And so as we look at Phase 3 this year, how are we going to build those tenets of JOCO 2020? Relationships, relevance, and innovation. We think about the three most important words in public education: relationships, relationships, relationships. We have to have that foundation starting on the first day of school. So now as we segue from Phase 3 of JOCO 2020, we want to head into our personalized learning framework that really digs deeper into JOCO 2020 Phase 3. We start looking at what motivates and what makes our students do the things that they do. Hopefully you've been exposed to things like a learner profile, but we look at instruction and assessment and the student, and all these things go into personalized competency-based education. We take that personalized learner framework, and then it evolves into our portrait of a graduate. Take time to look at the diagram and everything that our community, because the portrait of a graduate has developed out of our kitchen table discussions, where we meet with parents, community members, teacher leaders, student leaders, to talk about what public education should look like and what our graduates should have when they leave us. So we'll spend a great deal of time this year focusing on those characteristics of a Johnston County Public School student and what they should have when they leave us. So then as we tie all this together this morning, I think about we're focusing on our students, but when we focus on our students, we've got to focus on our teachers as well. I have a vested interest in what you do each and every day. And so hopefully you have seen the PCBE roadmap. I call it a PCBE roadmap, but really it's professional development at its best, because if we expect learning to be personalized for our students, then the roadmap we talk about for professional development, it should be personalized for our faculty and staff as well. Thank you all for all you do, and have a great 2018-2019 school year. Each student counts. Every moment matters.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coates. Dolores Gill.
I thought they said they edited that video so it captured the good stuff, but there was about 11 minutes there to start off with, but they cut it down to about 4 minutes. So the best part was might be on the editing floor somewhere.
Good afternoon, Mr. Vice Chair, Lady Vice Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Renfro, and Mr. Jimmy Lawrence. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon, and I have 10 items. 7 of those are requiring approval today, and 3 of those are for information. The first item is Board Exhibit 6C1, the grading policy, Policy 3400, standards-based grading. Upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee and Academics and Innovation, Policy 3400 is recommended for approval based upon exigent circumstances as we prepare for grading. And this would be an addition of 5th grade only at this point to round out our elementary implementation of standards-based grading. Up until this point, we have added 1 grade level per year, so we have typically been going at 1 grade level at a time. 4th grade was last school year, and this year what you would be voting upon today is to add 5th grade. This is
And
presented for approval.
This is an action item on standard-based grading, policy 3400. I entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Dr. Smith. Second by Butler Hall. Any questions?
Do we have a action plan in place to communicate to our parents? I know we can't communicate this enough. I know we had some in May. A lot of them still said they were not aware of this meeting. This is a topic that's out in the communities, of course. I know Wake County held meetings for over a year to make sure that each parent understood the process. What action plan do we have in place? I know that during our board retreat, it was a well-defined presentation. How is that going to be replicated to our communities with our parents understanding this process, especially this new 5th grade report card, because we only have one chance to make sure they understand it, or they're going to go against us. So what plan do we have in place?
Thank you, Mr. Sutton. And to help me answer that question, I'm going to ask that Dr. Paula Coates come up and give us some of those details that you're needing.
Welcome back, Dr. Coates.
Thank you. We do have a plan of action, and it's a multifaceted plan of action. As we speak, we have a paper copy of the school report card, but because it's based on standards, of course, there's lots of standards. So one of the tasks was to have essential standards, because we can control what we report upon, and to have that available for all our content areas. And our department has worked feverishly on that, and that's ready in paper format. Then the next step, of course, is to get that into the Power School model, which, as you know, we will utilize to report, and we are in process of doing that now. That we had to have a special plug-in to do that, and that's been purchased, and we're working on that. We also will be using a focus group, community feedback from our stakeholders to give us input into that process before we send it out to schools to use. With respect to parents, each elementary school is having a community meeting as soon as they receive that, and it will be well before the report card period. We will have the report card available to them. We will have our principal leadership with support from our department if they request it to communicate that. In addition, our department is working on posting on the website the proficiency scale so that parents can see what they are. And the reason we've not posted any is because we wanted to post them all, because we did not want you to be inundated with calls like, where's social studies? I see math. So we're waiting to post all of those. And we are also working on a video series that can be updated once per quarter that's in plain language that parents understand about all of these items. So as I said, it's multifaceted, and we had to get school started, but we are working diligently to ensure that communication is out there. Okay, any other question about that piece while I'm up here?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
And I would ask for guidance from our board attorney for the exigent circumstances.
Who wants to take the challenge of making that motion?
I will defer to the, yes.
Who's got the motion? Jimmy, would you clarify that again, please?
One time, please.
Probably in late to early November. And so we can begin typically we would have brought this in a July board meeting, and we would have had our first 30-day run with it. And so we're trying to work with training our teachers and working through with our 5th grade teachers on the standards and understanding the format and finalizing the look of the report card through PowerSchool. It helps you operationalize what we need to do to get things rolling.
Can I just make a comment? At
Sure.
the, thank you, sir, I'm sorry. At the Innovation Academy today, who are on standards-based grading, that question came up. Would you go back? And every student there said no. This was how they understood what they were doing. So kudos to you all for making this student relevant.
And there are challenges as we move up into, if we decide to move up into middle school and high school, that there have been comments of a number grade to be able to for parents to understand where they really are. But that's another.
Your decision
Time
today
another
would
day,
simply be
yeah.
to continue moving up through the elementary range and just adding the additional grade level, which you have typically done up until this point. And then I'm certain that it's a lot of methodical and strategic conversation that would have to go into moving forward with the middle school concept. But the conversation today would simply be finishing out an elementary report card.
And they're already used to this standard-based grading already because they came from the 4th grade. And, so the 5th grade, it'd be going back to them, correct?
It would be a different format, yes.
Also, all K
Sir, could you come up to the podium and do, so they can see you on TV? Oh, thank you. You got 2 minutes.
30 seconds, sir. All K-5 teachers will be pulled for a half day of training regarding standards-based teaching and learning and the grading and the report card as well. So it's currently down to a page and a half from that 8-page document. And so we're also making sure that the language is parent-friendly. And so we won't be talking about distributive property of. And so that half-day training will be instrumental in terms of making sure that as central administrators and then teachers are all saying the same thing, and then calling the parents, and we'll have students telling those stories, as was suggested by one of you, at those parent meetings that we formerly called the Roadshow. But that half-day of training for all teachers should help take care of that concern of what if this teacher didn't teach that grade level last year and didn't have the training. So I wanted to throw that there as well.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. You did good.
Thanks, sir.
Any
Thank you,
other
Mr.
questions?
Baker.
I still entertain a motion. Oh, we got a motion and a second by Dr. Smith. Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gill, for being patient.
Thank you. The next set of items that I have been through their first 30 days, and I will be taking those through for approval. The next item is Exhibit 6C2, which is Policy 4110 for attendance. Policy 4110 was amended in December of 2016, and it addresses the duty of the principal to adhere to the compulsory attendance statute. The policy currently included a seat time requirement of 91% attendance in order to receive credit, and it does not have any references to dual enrolled or virtual student. The amended policy will strike that 91% seat time requirement while adding that attendance can be counted in the form of dually enrolled and virtual options for students. And upon the recommendation of Academic Innovation Policy Review Committee, 4110 is recommended for approval today.
Policy 4110, action item on attendance. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by
So
Ronald
moved.
Johnson, second by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Ms. Gill.
Thank you. The next item is Policy 6530, School Bus Passengers. Policy 6530 relates to the training and requirements for our students for utilizing bus transportation, and the state policy has recently added a requirement for our principals to offer bus transportation and safety training each semester and to document this training. And the policy has been amended to add this required language. It is presented today as information upon the recommendation of our Policy Review Committee as well as the Administration and Operations Department, and I present that for approval today.
Entertain a motion for policy 6530, school bus passengers.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Ms. Johnson. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The next item is Policy 4620, Student Fees, Refunds, and Fee Waivers. Policy 4620 relates to a policy which governs the way that fees and refunds are assessed and provided. The policy name has been amended to include fee waivers in the title. Further, the policy has been amended to add the principal's authority to issue a waiver to an assessed fee. And the policy directs procedures related to general statute of 115C-398 in the collection of the unpaid fees. Policy 4620 is presented today for approval upon the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee as well as the Department of Academic Innovation.
Entertain a motion for policy 4620, student fees, refunds. Motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
My next item is Policy 3455, Honors Recognition. Policy 3455 was last amended in 2015 to reflect new graduation requirements and references to the use of the Latin honor system, which would come into effect in 1718. The policy name has been changed from Honors Diploma to Honors Recognition to utilize honoring of our graduates through the terms cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. Specifically, the language in the amended policy states, Johnston County Public School uses the Latin honor system to recognize academic achievement. Johnston County Public Schools recognizes class rankings as one method of measuring academic performance. In accordance with General Statute 116-1110A, high school principals shall compile a class ranking listed on the student's transcript. The principals will make class rank information available periodically to students and their parents or guardians and to other institutions at the request of the student or the student's parent or guardian. Policy 3455 is presented as for approval today upon the recommendation of Policy Review Committee and our Department of Academic Innovation.
I entertain a motion for policy 3455. Motion by Vice
So
Chair.
moved.
Motion by Vice Chair Johnson, second by Teresa Grant. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The next item is Board Exhibit 6C6, Policy 2510, the community use of schools. Policy 2510 is providing guidance regarding the use of school facilities. The policy was amended to add no smoking to include e-cigarettes and smokeless tobacco. Additionally, includes the addition of a prorated refund if the facility is deemed not usable due to a natural disaster. Policy 2510, Community Use of Schools, is presented today for approval upon the recommendation of Policy Review Committee and Administration and Operations.
This is an action item, policy 2510, community use of facilities. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ron Johnson, second by Butler Hall. Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The next item that I'd like to present is Board Exhibit 6C7, a construction update. Construction continues on the projects utilizing the $30 million funded by the Local Government Commission. The projects are moving according to schedule, and this update will detail some of the progress to date. Recently, the metal roofing project at Cleveland Elementary and the HVAC control projects at 5 schools have been completed. Over the summer, new front entrances were completed at Triple S High School and South Johnston High School as a part of the roofing projects at these schools. And this information is presented to inform the Board of Education of the current updates in regards to construction and renovations. We have a video for you to present as information.
Hey everybody, this is Ross Renfro, Superintendent for the Johnston County Public Schools. The school year has started and we think it's been a tremendous start. But stop and think about all the planning and effort that goes into the start of a school year. As we pause, I always think about construction. You know, we spent a lot of time this summer renovating existing structures so that they are welcoming and safe when our students and staff come back. Probably the biggest effort this year over the summer has been our roofs. As you visit our campuses this year, you'll notice that we have construction going on at the following places: Clayton Middle, Cleveland Elementary, Selma Elementary, Selma Middle, South Johnston, and Smithfield-Selma Senior High School. And in addition to the new roofs that we also have new front entrances at Smithfield-Selma and South Johnston, and then a new sign at South Johnston also, which just complements everything that's going on in that campus. We hope that you all are as excited about our new construction as we are. You know, it's always important to thank those who had a hand in this. So we want to thank our Board of Education for having the support and wisdom needed to facilitate these projects, and our county commissioners as well. Because when we join together and go to the LGC to secure funds to make our school safer and better, it puts us all in a position to be successful. So thank you to everyone who had a hand.
and hope you have a great school year.
And we'd like to thank Dr. Renfro, who's always a willing participant to do so many tapings with us and make certain that we get the word out there about all that we are doing related to construction. The next item that I have is Board Exhibit 6C8, Safety Updates. All of our district schools now will be able to keep all of their exterior doors locked throughout the day due to the key fob hardware and the front door buzzer systems that have been installed. Further, all of our interior camera installations are completed. The next steps will be to include an overall assessment of additional areas of needs in regards to the exterior cameras, taking each individual campus's design into consideration. We do have a JCPS security consultant who will be facilitating security assessments at all of our schools, and he will have this endeavor completed by the end of March. We will provide a findings report and summary report to you. Also, he will be identifying areas for safety improvement at all of our sites. We are also in the process of implementing a lockdown protocol in all of our schools, which will be handled consistently in the way that drills are facilitated in our district. We have collaborated with local law enforcement agencies as well as emergency services over the summer to help us determine the best course of action for these drills. And we want these drills to be more aligned with the realities of an actual lockdown. And this information is presented to you to continually inform the Board of Education all of our efforts towards safety throughout the district. It's presented as information today.
Thank you, Ms. Gill.
The next item is Board Exhibit 6C9, South Johnston Fieldhouse renovations. The South Johnston Fieldhouse is structurally sound but is in need of a complete renovation. The renovation project will include a new metal roof retrofit to match the roof system that's being installed at the school currently. ADA plumbing, fixtures, partitions, central heating and air, LED lighting, single-tier athletic lockers, painting, and ceramic tile. Bids were received for this renovation of the project on August 30th. The certified bid tabulation is included, and the low bid for this project was from Primus Contracting out of Newport for $497,000. It's recommended by Administration and Operations and Hyde Associates to award Primus Contracting to complete this project. It will be funded out of remaining LGC funds not used in contingency, and this is presented today for approval.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ronald Johnson. Second by Butler Hall. Any questions? Yes, sir.
The signatures on this document.
Yes, on the bid tabulation,
Yes, ma'am.
the signatures is from Brooks Moore, and then you had to have a witness from it when we had the open bidding process.
Thank you. I thought was the name, but I really couldn't read it.
It is our engineer on staff with us, Mr. Moore. The final item I have for
Not sure if he excelled in handwriting when he was a student at Princeton, but we'll work on that.
He's probably watching. I will certainly make sure he knows.
I don't think we voted yet, have we?
I don't believe we have.
I did want to say before we voted, I'm glad this project is taking place and it's needed now, so the quicker the better, but I appreciate everybody's effort to get this done for South Johnston. With that being said, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
The final item that I have for you today is bond information. We are in bond planning time. We are preparing with the Citizens for Better Schools to collaborate regarding getting the word out about our upcoming bond on November 6th. We just wanted to make the board aware that we will provide you information in the coming days to let you know what our planning efforts are related to getting the word out about this collaborative effort with Citizens for Better Schools, Johnston Community College, and Johnston County Public Schools, and that's presented as information. And that is all I have, Chairman Wooten.
Thank you, Ms. Gill, and I think that's a record breaker for you to have 10 items and be done on time, so appreciate your efforts.
Mr. Chairman, we're a little ahead of schedule. If it be the will of the board, I would recommend that we go ahead and go into closed session, executive session, so that we can consult with the board attorney in accordance with General Statutes 115C319, 143.318.11, subsections A1 and A3. And then when our guests get here at 3:30, 3:35, we can come back out of closed session to open session and recognize those folks that work hard to receive such recognition from our board.
Entertain a motion. Motion by Butler Hall, second by Todd Sutton. All those in favor? Teresa, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All those in favor? 7-0.
Sir, did you want to do your planning piece?
Yes, ma'am.
Planning piece first, yes.
And I'm sorry I didn't have my little button mashed here, but welcome here, and we'll look forward to the recognitions today.
And we start with your planning board documents.
Yes, ma'am, you can just move forward with the recognition if you don't mind.
All right, well, we've come to the most important part, the hard news, as I call it, and the information and the business that you take care of is all about our students. And so I come before you today to introduce character education honorees. And those students are coming from Four Oaks Elementary, Four Oaks Middle, Glendale Kinley Elementary, Innovation Academy at South Campus, and Clayton Middle School. So our character ed trait for this month is respect, which means understanding that all people have value as human beings. And we'd like to start off this recognition portion with our Clayton Middle School student, where Catherine Trudell is the lead learner. Our 8th grade student is Madison Valadez Montenegro. And if Madison will join me at the podium, right here. Oh, why don't you stand here, since I have the gift bags there. And Madison's parents are Mr. Aiden Valadez Gutierrez and Mrs. Maria Montenegro. Now let me tell you a bit about Madison. Madison is a student who sets the tone for others and earns the respect of all those around her by demonstrating value and respect for all. She is a hardworking student who excels in the classroom because she puts her academics first. However, she is equally focused on fulfilling her obligations to the organizations, teachers, and peers to whom she has committed herself. Madison is currently serving as the 2018-19 secretary of the Clayton Middle School FFA chapter, a contributing member of FBLA, and she is a member in good standing of the Beta Club. When asked to share her thoughts about Madison and how she demonstrates respect, one of her teachers shared that she leads with positivity and grace. And I believe that she is going to go very far as she further develops her leadership skills. In her 2 years at Clayton Middle School, Madison has proven herself to be a model student who considers the thoughts and feelings of others, demonstrates a sense of compassion at all times, and chooses to lift up those around her. On behalf of all the staff and students at Clayton Middle School, we want to extend our appreciation to Madison for her contributions to the positive culture we experience. Madison Valadez Montenegro. Madison, please accept this as a small token of our appreciation, and we wish you all the best. You're very welcome. And our students will, I think they've had their pictures taken, but when they go out, they'll also get an envelope. Our next student comes to us from Four Oaks Elementary School, where Kathy Parrish is our lead learner there. And this 5th grade student goes by the name of Anthony Alvarez Alvarez. Parents' names are Dagoberto and Liz Alvarez. And if Anthony will join me at the podium, come on around. So, Four Oaks Elementary is recognizing Anthony Alvarez for the character trait of respect. His teachers from last year in 4th grade say that he has respect built into his character. His current 5th grade teachers have already noticed the same trait. He always displays a respect for his teachers, peers, his quality of work, and the effort he puts into his work. His respect for others is displayed through compassion. He is the first to notice others' needs and to do everything in his power to care for them. He has a great amount of respect for school and his education. He willingly, on his own, will go above and beyond what is asked of him to complete an assignment to his best ability. He is not shy about asking questions and taking his learning into his own hands. Anthony is an honorable and respectful young man who displays respect easily and on a daily basis. We are proud to call him a Four Oaks Cardinal. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Alvarez. Anthony, please accept this small token of our appreciation, and we wish you the best. You're very welcome. Our next student comes to us from Four Oaks Middle School, where Toll Avery is our lead learner there. 8th grade student Leah McLam, if you'll join me at the podium. Leah's parents are Terry Don and Janie McLam. And here's a little bit about Leah. We are proud to recognize Leah McLam as our representative for the character trait of respect. Leah embodies respect by being kind and supportive towards her classmates, teachers, and the staff at Four Oaks Middle School. In the classroom, she respectfully collaborates with her classmates and does her best to help them with assignments. She's always willing to give a classmate a helping hand and patiently explain the directions to them. She listens attentively when other people are talking to her. Her empathy and understanding of others helps her to respect their opinions and points of view. Leah goes out of her way to show her teachers respect and appreciation. Her kindness and respect for others is shown through the way she interacts with everyone at our school. We are so proud of you, Leah. Thank you for being a wonderful example of respecting others for all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, Leah McLam. Leah, congratulations, and we're so proud of you. Best wishes. You're welcome. Our next student comes to us from Glendale Kinley Elementary School, where Cole Yarborough is our lead learner. 5th grade student Emily Castro Padilla. Would you join me at the podium? Just go on this side. Emily's parents are Yenny Padilla and Elder Borjena. Emily has been an extremely helpful student in my class, says her teacher. She has taken a student who is new to our country under her wing and has been a translator as well as a teacher. She often volunteers to assist the student in reading and communicating what is being asked from the students. She has shown kindness and compassion by accepting our new student for who she is and helping to guide her in this new journey. Emily is a bright student and is always respectful to staff and to her peers. She has demonstrated that she is responsible not only for others around her, but for her own actions. As her teacher, I never asked or expected Emily to take on the role she has in our classroom. She has surprised me with her maturity and ability to balance her work while helping others. I am excited to see what Emily is able to accomplish through this school year, and I am more than grateful to have her as a part of my class. Ladies and gentlemen, Leah McLam. I think I said Leah McLam again, and it's Emily. Emily Castro Padilla. Say that for the record. Emily Castro Padilla, we appreciate you, and we are so very proud of you. Congratulations. You're welcome. Our final student comes to us from Innovation Academy at South Campus, where we met her earlier today. Kelly Johnston is the lead learner there at Innovation Academy, and our 7th grade student is Iyana Horton. Iyana, if you'll join me at the podium. I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Iyana earlier today, so it's so wonderful to see her again. Her parents' name is Janice McFarland. Now, this is what is said about Iyana. You don't know what's coming, do you? Throughout our time together, Iyana has shown leadership, passion, and persistence in all that she does. She is reflective in her understanding of the classroom environment and her contribution to the team. She asks purposeful questions and offers innovative ideas to benefit the group as a whole. Iyana goes above and beyond to share her positive attitude, fresh perspectives, and new ideas with her peers. Iyana has displayed selflessness through her willingness to help others, no matter the disadvantage to her. She is determined to be the best that she can be and is focused on her success as a creative and empowered learner. Iyana's contribution to the Pioneer team is evident as she has risen to a leadership role among her peers. The self-discipline that she demonstrates on a daily basis serves as a model for her classmates to continually do the best in all that they do. The team at Innovation Academy is thankful for Iyana's contribution to the betterment of our school community. Ladies and gentlemen, Iyana Horton. Iyana, please accept this as our small token of our appreciation. We're so very proud of you. Best wishes. Thank you. Mr. Wooten, members of the board, Dr. Renfro, our next item, this gentleman was not able to join us. Tyler Henry is the person that we wanted to recognize, so we will move on. And Suzanne Lujan, I believe. I'm sorry? Okay. Okay. Our next item, will recognize our career and technical student organization's first place state winners. We have so many that we've split these into 2 groups. We had our first group in June, so they're back now, or the second group is here with us. And I will call Ms. Suzanne Lujan, who is Executive Director of Career and College Education Readiness, Career and College Readiness, to the podium to help us with those recognitions.
Welcome, Ms. Lujan.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to recognize our amazing career and technical education students who participated in career and technical student organization competitive events at the national level last year. We've got some parents in here, and they've come in first. The first group that I'd like to recognize is our ProStart students. And they are led by their teacher, Judy Yao.
Ms. Lujan, if I could just tell the parents if they want to get pictures, feel free to come walk behind the board, come behind us and take all the pictures you would like. Welcome to the board meeting.
We got it. There we go. Our first group is our ProStart students from Smithfield-Selma High School, led by their teacher, Judy Yao. They came in second place in the culinary competition in the whole state of North Carolina last year, so it's very exciting. And we're recognizing today Jasmine Merritt and Adriana Robles. Go ahead and go ahead, Judy. And their parents? Are their parents here? No? Okay.
Yes. Triple S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Our kitchen is still under.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The next group I'm going to recognize is our DECA organization. They're with our marketing program. First is Clayton High, and our advisor is Natalie Everett, and her students that we're recognizing today are Alyssa Peak and Peyton Caravu. And then from Corinth Holders High, we have Samantha Tobias, our advisor, and we have Matthew Williamson, Ashley Chabot, Emma Faulkner, and Jessica Dunn. And Matthew, Ashley, and Emma won first place at nationals. So first in the nation. Mm-hmm. Parents, if you want to take pictures. Mm-hmm. Yes. Our next group is our Future Business Leaders of America, or FBLA. And we've got a group of students from Corinth Holders High School. Their advisor wasn't able to come today. And also from Princeton High, whose advisor also wasn't able to come. Roberto Oliveira is here. And parents, you can slide behind. William Vonderhaar, Nick Eberwine, and then from Princeton High, Nate Starling. Our next group is the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCCLA, and the first school, Clayton High School, led by our advisor, Rachel Langdon, and she has Jayla Lowry, Paris Pugh, Juliana Hyatt, Isabella Sullivan, Hannah Gowen, Taj Saunders, Elizabeth Hutchins, and Kayla Monk Watkins. Mm-hmm. Our next group that we're going to recognize is Skills USA from South Johnston High School, led by advisor Paige Evans. And the students are Kelsey Godwin, Austin Denning, Ben Martin, Matthew Anderson, Lance Adams, Katie Evans, Mackenzie Swartz, and then we have, last but not least, our Technology Students of America TSA group at Corinth Holders High School, led by Jackie Harrell, the advisor, and her student Anthony Moretti. Okay. Can we have one more round of applause for our current technicals? And we're going to have certificates for you guys outside, so if you all can kind of get in line the way you came in, the certificates are in that order. So thank you guys so much.
Ms. Lujan, thank you. Appreciate it. And it just exemplifies the many great students we have in Johnston County Public Schools. Great job.
Congratulations to them. Our next recognition is going to have to be tabled as well because the fire department is very busy preparing for this impending storm. So we will invite them back in October. So Brian Vetrano will now come to us with our Employee of the Month recognitions.
As Mr. Vetrano makes his way to the podium, Mr. Chairman, I would just like to offer, for those that are here and for those that are viewing in live stream, based on the pending forecast for bad weather, we will have a 2-hour early dismissal tomorrow, Wednesday, and then we're going to be closed on Thursday and Friday. So I think Ms. Roberts has already sent out a Connect Ed, but we just want to make sure we announce it at the board meeting as well. So 2-hour delay tomorrow, and all after-school and evening activities are canceled, and then closed on Thursday and Friday. Excuse me. Thank you, Dr. Smith. 2-hour dismissal, early dismissal. I appreciate you.
Mr. Vetrano.
Good afternoon again. Always an honor to come before you and recognize outstanding employees. We had a wonderful morning yesterday traveling and surprising our 2 employees of the month. First, my privilege to bring forward Mr. Doug Hines. Mr. Hines, if you'll come up here and stand with me. Mr. Hines serves as a grounds foreman at Facility Services. He was nominated by Mr. Chase Farrell, who serves as the Auxiliary and Safety Officer for the school system. Mr. Farrell shared that Mr. Hines never wants to take credit when he is complimented for his beautification efforts on our campuses. He defers the credit to his team members and recognizes them instead. That is truly a sign of a quality leader. Doug takes incredible pride in the schools he serves and wants our grounds to mirror the outstanding environments in the halls. Doug knows that the grounds of a school are the first impression when people arrive on campus, and he works tirelessly to ensure that the grounds create the proper kind of first impression for our stakeholders. Doug worked late during the week and also on the weekends to make certain the schools he serves had a manicured front lawn for the first day of school. Doug and his team are truly appreciated. Mr. Hines, we congratulate you for being our Johnston County Public Schools Classified Employee of the Month, and we certainly appreciate what you do.
I'm not a good public speaker. I'd like to thank Chase for the kind words. I'm not sure I'm deserving of them, but I do appreciate it, sir. I really do. I appreciate the honor and I appreciate you.
See, he's trying to get away. I shared with him yesterday that after we recognize him, we'd have some goodies. So he's trying to escape that part of it. But we have a certificate for you, a gift card, and a keychain. We truly appreciate what you do. It's just a small token of our appreciation. Yes, sir. Thank you much. Our certified employee of the month is Miss Linda Martin. Miss Martin, if you'll come join me. Enjoyed visiting you in the quad. I think that's what we call it, learning environment. Yesterday, I think this board has had an opportunity to visit Riverdale out in that quad unit. It's a wonderful place. Miss Martin serves as a third grade teacher at Riverdale Elementary School, and she was nominated as Employee of the Month by two parents. The parents shared that, here's what the parents shared: our child suffers from a rare condition. As parents, we are in a unique situation in regards to schooling and care. It requires teachers to learn and understand some of the challenges our son faces daily. From day one, Ms. Martin took his challenges and excelled at bringing out the best in our son. She read information, met with us, and really advocated for our son and his success. My wife and I greatly appreciate her commitment to her students and her profession. Ms. Martin exemplifies how a teacher should be because she believes that each student is unique and each student learns, acts, and behaves differently. We appreciate what you do. We're happy that these parents recognized you today and that you were selected as Employee of the Month. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And don't try to escape like Mr. Hines did. Come on back over here. We also have a certificate for you, gift card, and a keychain. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
For informational purposes, October board meeting is Tuesday, October the 9th, 2018. It will be here before you know it. And Dr. Renfro.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask a second time that we enter executive session for the purpose of consulting with the board attorney to discuss personnel items in accordance with General Statute 115C-319, 143.318.11, subsections A1 and A3.
Entertain a motion to re-enter into closed session.
So moved.
Motion by Todd Sutton, second by Ronald Johnston. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 7-0.